about the legislative sessions, the House, and what's happening in the federal government and what is happening in the state government now. Um, just so you can prepare right at the beginning. Now, we won't do this all the time, but we need to give more information out today so people know what to look for. But first, we're going to talk about our weekends and our holiday. What you do on New Year's?
I didn't really do much this New Year's. I
You
went
said
around.
you wasn't really going to do anything.
Yeah, I was gonna take it light anyway. You know, the birthday. Sometimes just because my birthday's so close, I will do that double turn up.
When
But
is
this year,
Brian's birthday?
January 11th for everybody. January 11th. This coming up Saturday will be my birthday. But yeah, I chilled out. So I went and had like 2 weeks earlier, bought me some little lobster tails. I smoked them and then got me a ribeye and a
Okay, y'all.
a
I hope
T-bone,
y'all know
and I
Brian
smoked them.
can throw down in the kitchen. Brian can throw down. He made us some Mississippi pot roast.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, when he brought it to the office and he made it, and we had a office kind of an office lunch.
Right.
And Latoya, who loves that food,
Right, celebrating Latoya's birthday
we
too
were
that day too.
celebrating Latoya's
Mhm.
birthday, and all of a
It was
sudden,
like a little
the pot roast was gone. I had to
Man.
call her. Can you bring me some back?
Man, I had that last bowl. I was able to save you because that one was a good one. I took my time with that. You know, the first one you got to make sure it's always on point. I mean, all of them on point, but that first one I had to really make sure that y'all will want it in the future in case we had any more potlucks. Cause
Well, we gonna try to do some other stuff. What's the other thing Latoya wants you to make?
she like that. She want that brisket.
Oh yeah, the brisket,
that corned beef brisket.
So I know Michelle talked about this a little bit, but as I was Ubering this on New Year's Eve because I am
How was
my
that?
Uber, like I like doing it. It's interesting. All my Uber money is going to my traveling in 2025 fund.
Yeah.
So I am going to be doing some traveling in 2025. I got the vacation time to do it. I've been working really hard, so I have to. It's 53. I'm 53 years old. I'm part of the 94% or 92%. So I'm going to rest, but do what I got to do and do some self-care. But on, I know you guys, I know you heard about what happened on New Year's Eve over at 930 East Keefe.
Yeah. Heard it from pretty much the team first, I think.
Yeah.
When y'all sent it out, I didn't,
That is when Sedan Smith got arrested over there. I was there. They called me. Community, I'm not going to go too much into it because there's so many details that are kind of suspect. Some things are, I've seen video. Most of y'all saw videos, different things like that. But the one thing I want to say is, and the biggest takeaway from all that, when the community wants something done, they can get it done.
Yeah, that's what I see every time. Something that's in their interest or somebody that's in their interest.
Yes.
We hop on it quick.
And that's what we have to do about all this. Legislative sessions are starting right now. Do you know the power of these nonprofits who are working in the community? The people, the neighborhood organizations, all these people, they band together. There was over 500 calls to see how Sedan was, to make sure he was all right.
Yeah.
Then they put pressure to make sure. Now his bail was $18,000+, but he got out on an administrative release.
Okay.
Now some of this stuff is lawyer stuff, and I don't know. I mean, it'll go back and forth, but it just proves that when the community gets together and put pressure on it. Remember, the DA, elected official, and I think DA Chisholm is done now, and we have a new DA. But elected official, those county supervisors, elected officials, the sheriff, elected official. When the community puts some pressure on the elected officials, they have to get stuff done if they want to keep their jobs.
Yeah.
So, as we talk about January 6th, remember 4 years ago, and I'm going to tell you a little bit of story of where I was January 6th last year. I was, or 4 years ago, I was working for then Senator Lena Taylor, and we were driving to the Capitol on January 6th, 4 years ago. Um, and nothing really happened. There was a small group that was there at our Capitol, and I have to give it to the Capitol Police. I remember one gentleman was like, "Oh, we ain't having it here." He was tired. They had been on high alert.
Mhm.
I think he was going on his 12 hours. He was supposed to get off at a certain time. He's like, he ain't having it. And so as soon as somebody came to uh um as soon as we he came to get the I think there were some people there with the what is it called? Those drums or whatever. He was like,
Yeah.
we ain't having it. But I know we were locked in for a while. We couldn't go anywhere. And it wasn't that many people in the Capitol, but I was there in the Capitol and we couldn't figure out what was going on until we turned on the radio. And then, or turned on the TV, and then you saw the insurrection that happened. Um, Devastating spot on our history and on America.
Yeah.
Um, I believe it's a tragedy. People lost their lives in this thing. Hopefully, today, 4 years later, they also certify the election today, and the person who will be certifying it is Kamala Harris.
Yeah, I seen that
Kamala
too.
Harris, yeah,
Mhm.
she will be certifying it because she's the leader of the Senate for now.
Mhm.
Um, she is the vice president. So let's pray and hope that nothing major happens. But they do all their due diligence of what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, I seen that earlier when you was saying that we was gonna be talking about this. I seen the 2025 where they were saying it's gonna be designated a national special security event by the Secretary of Homeland Security. It is marks the first time that a electoral certification of electoral votes in Washington D.C. have been designated a um, a special security event. And
Yeah,
they're requesting that this is made a special security event from here on out. Uh,
this should have been. This is just a what do you call it? A formality to a point,
that's what it
but
seemed like.
yeah, it should be in history. It was a formality, and now look what has happened. That we have to take even the things that we took for granted. Boom! All of a sudden, we have to. It shouldn't be a security factor here.
Yeah,
I wish we would have known. I wish we would have done it now back 4 years ago and people wouldn't have lost their lives. But I find it interesting. But we'll see what happens. But let's talk about what Congress is doing right now. For so the people who don't know, there are you know, the elections are over. Everybody got sworn in as of January 3rd. I'm talking specifically for the federal government, which is um, the House of Representatives and the Senate. Um, Interesting enough, they took a little bit of time to pick a Speaker of the House,
mhm.
but they have a Speaker of the House. Whew, there's 435 members of Congress. Now, this is how it's broken down. This is the first time, and I think in 8 years, I believe it's 8 years, that the House of Representatives, the Senate, and the presidency will all be of one party.
Yeah.
Um, when
Was the
it co-
last time during when Obama was in office that
Yeah,
last run? Yeah, I
yeah.
remember that.
So it's gonna be. We'll see what happens.
That's when people were saying nothing was getting done when they had control, right? Yeah. Yeah.
No, that was yeah, that was. I
And
think no, it's more than 8. It has to be more than 8 years.
ooh, was that 8?
I think it was
Because it was
12
at the end, right?
years. It might be 12 years.
Man,
I'll look at it
that went
because I
quick.
know when Obama first got in, he had all three. And
Mhm.
then the second, it might be 8 years, but I know the second half of his first term,
Yeah.
it flipped.
Okay.
But for the first 2 years, he had the House, he had the Senate, and he had the president, and he had obviously had the presidency.
Hmm.
Um, there is this is some dynamics that they can run amok and just put everything through, because of the way it's split. And I'm not saying amok that bad or good. It's just they can do all the
Yeah.
things they need to do.
Yeah.
Their agenda, um, there is one seat that is open in the Senate, and that's Matt Gaetz. And if you recall, Matt Gaetz
Hmm.
resigned, or that's Assembly, I think. No, yeah, Assembly or House, but he resigned. He's in the House, and he resigned because he was going to be up for Attorney General, and then he withdrew his name. So they will have to do a special election in Florida to to put somebody in that seat. Right now, as it stands, it's 220 Republicans and 215 Democrats. You need 218 to pass most laws. So if any of those middle of the road Republicans decide that they don't like what the agenda is, there could be a there could be they could have a hard time passing bills, at least in the House. Um, then you need 218. But their agenda, and I looked up, they want, and this is just so everybody understands, we're not weighing in on anything. It's just the three main things they want to do at the beginning is to work on immigration and border security. Some of that you guys have learned about, how they might do a mass deportation.
Hmm.
Um, it depends on how he rolls. I don't know how President elect Trump will roll, but that's one of their top priorities. A second priority is an energy policy, which I'm a little concerned about that. I don't know what energy policy means. Are they going to loosen
And
regulations?
that's what the habit has been within that party, to loosen regulations. And I've always seen that over the years, is to allow drilling in places that you shouldn't allow drilling, and wild parks or state parks and federal parks and
Wetlands?
yeah, places like that. Yeah. And the crazy fracking that they do across the country, fracking next door to neighborhoods where people put their little suburban neighborhoods up in the middle of nowhere, and now they got some big energy company fracking right next door and just gases. Yeah.
And that is a big, and sometimes we don't understand that there is that going up in upper Wisconsin.
Hmm.
And this is why we should pay attention, because sometimes we say that's not an issue that we have to deal with, but it is. That's an environmental issue.
Big time.
But and we're trying to get lead laterals done, so our lead lateral, we can get rid of these lead laterals. This is something that the, you know, Congress could work for the rural as well as the urban areas. There's ways and things that can be worked together and put into a bill that helps everyone. Let's just hope they
Mhm. Right.
let's
Take a
hope they get
glance.
to it.
Take a
Um
glance at it.
the the last thing out of I just picked the three that they were their top priorities is extending the tax cuts. Um when President Trump was in office the first time, they did a massive tax cut, mostly for their wealthier people, and some business owners benefited from it. My taxes went up tremendously, because I'm not quite in that 250 $300,000 household
All
income.
right.
Um, let's maybe the board will give us all our raises. Let's just hit that out there, but so I can get into that tax bracket. But wanting to extend the tax bracket. But this is the interesting thing that I find is that usually The Republican Party does not want to increase the debt ceiling. That means, and the debt ceiling is, for people who don't know, is the limit. It limits how much the government can borrow to pay their bills.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and usually Republicans are all about not raising the debt ceiling. But to do what his agenda wants to do, he has to get that debt ceiling raised. How are you going to pay for this mass deportation if you don't have the money to do it?
All right.
So it just turns, it's a little bit, did they forget about their, fiscal responsibility when it comes to what they want to get done? They're fighting within themselves between ghost president. I'm sorry, Elon Musk and the party itself on some of the um, immigrant and deportation rules and these visas. It's we'll just This is going to be interesting to sit back and see what actually really happens and how things go. But they're going to try to pass all these things, and it's called the procedure is called the budget reconciliation. So where you only have to get a majority vote. Normally, for most legislations, you have to have a 60% threshold. So that is going to be interesting when it's so tight. They're either going to have to work with Democrats
Mm-hmm.
to get to that 60%, or they're going to have to, keep they're going to have to work with Democrats no matter what, if it's the 60%. If it's a majority vote, they have to keep everybody at least in line, all 220 of their members, and they need 218 as a majority. So they're going to have to keep all their members in line. But remember, there's also some middle of the road Republicans that are not fans or supporters of the president elect's agenda.
Yeah.
This is stuff that we really need to pay attention to. Remember, you can call your Congress people. In the Milwaukee area, in the most of Milwaukee County, that is Gwen Moore. So call her. They're if something is going on and you want to speak your mind, she has a Milwaukee office. She has liaisons all over the place for here in Milwaukee. She also has liaisons at the Capitol. Yeah, we got to get involved and pay attention.
Yeah.
4 years ago, like I said, there was an insurrection. Hopefully, this goes smoothly today. When we come back from our break, we're going to talk about what's going on in our state legislature. What is happening today? What we're going to do? What's going to happen, and how process the process goes. How are we going to be able to give our voice? We're going to do all that when we come back. This is Be a Voice with Wisconsin Voices, 860 AM, 106.5 FM. If you have a comment, give it to us, 414-444-5250 or 414-444-5253. We'll be right back. we got some. We be like sometimes we could just sit here and be like, okay, I could listen to this.
A little bit.
Um. So oh, this is also crazy. So Mike Johnson got back in as the speaker.
Yeah, we saying that.
Whew, he had to work. He had to work to get that. Um, what you? He had to work to get that. I ain't never seen besides the last session where they had one guy and it took 50 million times and then they kicked him out. I wonder if that rule is going to still is that that's one thing I don't know if that rule applies or are those rules that are adopted at the time. Yeah, you needed one person to say I need to get a vote and that's it. But I don't know cuz I think that was something that was put in last session, but I don't know if that is no, when it came to if you don't like what the speaker's doing, one person can say let's take a vote. And that was I don't think that was a normal thing back previous to that. I don't know if they put that in last year and I'll do some research on that. I will tell you when I don't know, but I know that that was new and I don't know how it got in, but it was new and it came to bite them in the butt because all of a sudden it was a disruption halfway through. So we'll see. Um so when he got voted in, 9 Republican lawmakers abstained from voting for Johnson or they voted for a different speaker.
Yeah, I got the names right here too.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Who are those?
We had Rep Ralph Norman, Republican from South Carolina. Rep Keith Self, Republican from Texas, who later switched their votes. Rep Andy Biggs, Republican from Arizona. Rep Powell Gauser uh, from Arizona. Rep Michael Cloud from Texas. Rep Andrew Clyde from Georgia. Rep Andy Harris from Maryland. And then Rep Chief Chip Roy from Republican from Texas did not cast a vote on their first ballot when their names were called.
So I just looked it up. So each session they have rules that they vote on. Now it's 9 people have to at least vote to um to make a motion to vacate for the house now. That's it was only one with the rules. So every session rules get in and we're going to talk about that with the Wisconsin parts of it too. But who that's they only needed one person to get Kevin McCarthy out.
Yeah,
I know he
that.
mad. I think he a little bit of mad. Now y'all want to change it. What happened to it before? But let's get into the state of Wisconsin. Now, today at 2, some of the the private swearing ins are happening as we speak right now. But at 2 o'clock today, and I'm going to watch it happen. Brian, you with me? We rolling?
So.
We rolling. Oh, we rolling. But they will be sworn in and they do the official, where they come in, they take the picture, they raise their hand, they sign the book. And then I think there's only one other piece of business that happens today, and I can't remember what it is. And then they start work tomorrow, basically. They had orientation for new people this morning. I think they all had to be in there 7. We got a lot of new electeds where we have been in talks with a couple of them to get them on the show. We talked to State Representative Sequana Taylor.
That was a good interview. I was watching that one.
Yeah, we were. Yeah, she was here. She was good. We're gonna be talking to, and we have reached out to some of the newer electeds to just introduce themselves. So we will be having them on a show in the future. But let's talk about how does things work? Because right now this is budget season, Every 2 years, they roll through a budget. And the worst part about this, I think, is the new people have no chance to get their feet wet. They are literally going in and having to make decisions or talk about budget, and they have no clue what the job is about. Like
Mhm.
the new people, I mean,
Yeah.
they've done some trainings, and there's some trainings that they have before this, but they really haven't even done the job. Half of them just got their phone numbers today
Mhm.
and their committee assignments today. And we're going to talk about committee assignments in a little bit. But just so people know how this works, this is a budget year. So, and how a bill or a statute gets put in, because I think it's very important. And then what you can do when it comes to some of this decision making. So, a legislator usually gets an idea. They have an idea that they want to change something or put something in a law for either their own brain or a constituency. Somebody in their constituency calls and says, "This is what I want." Um, and then, and it's usually about change or something that people have found that they want clarification on.
Mhm.
So a draft bill is prepared, and the draft bill is prepared by a bill is prepared by a draft lawyer. So don't think that these people are writing this stuff up. Your legislators are writing these bills up. No,
They
there's
contracted out.
yeah, they
They got
kind of contract it out. It's lawyers that are writing it up. Um and then the bills are usually referred to as AB, which is Assembly Bill, or SB, which is a Senate bill. And all that is, that's how the bills are going, and that's how they're done. And then there's a first read. From there, if you are of the same party
Mhm.
as the introducing person, you can be a co-author. And that means that you are co-authoring this bill if you support it. If you are a co-sponsor, usually it's from the opposite party, which in this case, if a Republican put something in a Republican representative or senator wanted to support it, it would be a co-author. And then if Democrats wanted to support the bill, it would be a co-sponsor. So
How many people do they need on the bill for it to be
it doesn't, it's no number. It's no number.
like? Yeah,
Right.
no, I was
It's
just saying,
just,
like, if it was gonna be a like a nonpartisan bill, how many people do it need to be on there
oh no,
for?
it's just one person. If
Okay,
even if all the Republicans are supportive of this bill, and you
just one
get
Democrat.
one Democrat, all of a sudden it's a
It's a
bipartisan bill.
bipartisan. Yeah,
Yeah,
excuse
it's
me,
a
bipartisan.
bipartisan
Yeah,
bill.
excuse me. Yeah.
So then it's sent to committee. And now this is some of the stuff while it's in committee, they usually one of the legislative service agencies look at the bill to determine the impact, how much money it's going to be, or what it does it have an impact on the community. Whatever it is, they are trying to look at it, and they will give a memo on it. um, does it contradict a federal law? Does it contradict another law that we have on our books, or do we need to do anything in preparation for it? They also can hold, and usually with committees, they hold public hearings. And then with these public hearings, that's when the public can go in and either speak, or you can go to a public hearing, sign in, and just mark you oppose or agree with this, and that will be part of the record. If it involves any money, if it's cha-ching that goes with
Get
it,
a budget committee in the building.
it will go to joint finance. See, and that will, in joint finance, I don't know who's on joint finance, because I don't know if the committees have been released yet, but that is important. I mean, that is, the joint finance person also has to work for their community and Wisconsin as a whole. So whoever's on the joint committee, and usually it's at least one person from Milwaukee, because it's so big. But
Yeah.
like Senator Taylor was on joint finance for a long time. I know Latanya Senator Latanya Johnson is on Joint Finance now. I know Evan Gorky used to be on the Joint Finance for the Assembly. I don't know who, but any of these things, all those decision making, anything that has to do with money goes to Joint Finance. Then once that occurs, it'll come back to the legislature. The committee will decide if it goes for a full vote or it could die in committee. And a lot of these bills die in committee. This is what we need to know. Now, let's talk about what you can do. What you can do. You can go on the website legis.wisconsin spelled out.gov, legis.wisconsin spelled out.gov. And you can sign up for the emails of things that you are interested in. Say if you're interested in environment, you can click on it and say, I want anything that has to do with the environment or any legislation that has to do with criminal justice, whatever it is. And you can get a little email on it. And you can keep abreast. Or you can go in, you can do it once a month or whatever it is, and go in and type in the search. Whatever it is. And
what's the website again?
It's legis.wisconsin.gov.
Okay, cool.
And you can, get your information. Also, when they have a lot of these committees that are open to the public. I mean, that are on Wisconsin Eye. I'm sorry, that are on Wisconsin Eye.
Mm-hmm.
You can watch these public hearings. They usually have them on. And that's when you can hear or watch these.
So I got a caller.
Yeah.
Oh, real quick before you go to the next, when you say when it goes to like the impact and the research, does it spend a lot of time? Do they spend a lot of time in the impact of that?
Yeah, there's a whole group that
Yeah.
looks at financial impacts.
Mhm.
Yeah, so
Community
it's a
and-
whole department.
Okay.
It's legislative services that do this.
Okay.
So it's not just
Thrown in for,
somebody
like,
go
a week and then
yeah,
shout
they
out.
don't look
Okay,
at that. They
cool.
look at the
Okay.
whole impact, especially
Yeah.
if it has dollars.
Yeah.
Caller, let's see what you got to say. Caller, this is our first caller of 2025.
Is it? All right. Well,
Oh, there you
I'll own up
go.
to that. Well, thank you, and God bless you. I love you both. What's up, Brian, Latoya?
Well, it's
Hey,
just
what's
me and
going on?
Tamika and Brian today.
Okay, Tamika. All right. Excuse me. I'm so excited for all four of you there, even Joe. But
Even Joe.
Thanks for shouting out the team.
Right out. Yep. Welcome to the new year.
Thanks for
Tyrone W. speaking.
thanks for calling in.
I just wanted to say I love what I'm hearing, but I just wanted to say our treasurer, Spencer Cox, and then the others there, the comptroller. The name's getting away from me. I know we just voted him in. He was on there a few times. I think his name was Dave something.
What are you?
The comptroller.
For Milwaukee?
Huh?
Milwaukee comptroller?
Yeah.
Okay, keep going.
So anyway, long story short there, I mean, when we have a surplus, are these people working together, the auditors and, I guess even where Chairman Spencer was, that office there, are those people working together to see that the surplus gets, handed back out to the people or, distributed properly?
What surplus are you talking about?
Well, I mean, any surplus, anything that's not a deficit, a surplus, any surplus that's beneficial to us.
Well, the state has had a surplus for years,
and we don't see none of it. That's what I'm saying.
Well,
so,
and
what are they doing with it then? And
it's just sitting there right now. But
Well,
that
that's-
is what is going to happen, and this is part of budgeting to see if they're going to
Mhm.
use that money, if they're going to give it away, whatever they're going to do. We'll find out within
it should come back to us. I mean, if they're going to give it away, they should give it away back to us.
But it could be given it away in different areas. It could be given away as tax relief. It could be
Right.
given away to
Like-
give
like
put
making
more
the
money in the
streets better,
schools.
getting the potholes out of here, and some of these bad looking properties and stuff. Start there, but give us a little something to work with. Going to these grocery stores and stuff.
But we're specifically today talking about
I
the
know.
federal government and the state.
I just want you to hear from me.
Oh
So,
yeah,
love you. Welcome to the new year. I'm gonna catch up with you.
thank Mr.
All
Tyrone.
right.
Yeah, but you also have to. The budget process happened in the municipalities in October, and they were mostly solidified in November or voted on in November. So you have to start watching that.
Mhm.
They're going to be having committee meetings, and they're going to have meetings and seeing what they're doing and how they're doing it. But let's go back to some of the things you can do. Um, so like I said, you can go on to the website, search what you want, but you also can, you can subscribe to get the news, the email notification. Um, you also can suggest bills to your legislature. Now, one person may not, and this is where Wisconsin Voices really wants to emphasize this. One person calling and saying, I want a bill to do such and such thing may not get a lot of traction. But as we put our partners together,
Yeah.
we have 70 plus partners. When we put our partners together to think like-mindedly and to also get the community to think like-mindedly, if that's a word, um, this is where the impact comes. This is where the pressure comes. This is the time to put pressure on people now. Get them to commit to what they're going to do and what they're
Fresh
not
air,
going to
fresh
do.
ideas.
And then remember, all the assembly is up in 2 years.
Mhm.
Write down what they say. Write down what they work at. If you don't like what they're doing, then tell them.
It's perfect time to keep track.
Right. If you want to support because you love what they're doing, support as well.
Yeah.
And the thing is, all the sessions and committee hearings are public. They are all public. Unless it's a caucus meeting or a caucus when like the Democrats are meeting or the Republicans are meeting, or it's a Black caucus meeting or something like that, or whatever caucus it is. Those can be closed to the public, but all session and committee hearings, meetings are open to the public. So you can go up in there. You might not be able to speak, but you can also go in there and listen to what the process is. And then lastly, you can testify. Like I said, all this stuff is what we need to know to get things moving.
Yeah.
We cannot this year, and Wisconsin Voices is going to try to be a kind of guide into making sure that things that our community cares about will be there. Joe is our policy director, our policy person. He will be watching things. Brian, Latoya, Shanita out of Milwaukee will be, and Latoya will be working with our partners to make sure that our partners know what's going on, keeping them updated, and trying to put them together in groups of like-minded people so we can have a focus and a voice in what is happening. This may be bad, it may be good. I'm not one to decide on what people think is right or wrong about the state of our government, but we have to participate. We have to participate. We have to be involved. And I sound like I'm preaching, but it's like this is the first show, and I really wanted to do the first show on what we need to do to get out there. What information do you need to make sure you're aware of what's going on? Today, I think is it tomorrow or today? Signatures are due. I think tomorrow. Signatures are due. Right now, it looks like there is nobody running against any of the incumbent judges. We do have a Supreme Court race that is coming up, and we have a superintendent of schools race that is coming up. We're going to have to watch if they try to put any of these referendums on the ballot, because they have still a little time to put some referendums on the ballot. There are local races that are out. And these are local races, not in Milwaukee, but in the suburbs, the suburban areas. Almost all of them have some person that is up for reelection. There's a lot of judges. And then we'll know today, I know there's a contested race in one of the school board areas. Once we figure out if everybody turned in their signatures, we'll be talking to those people and trying to get the those candidates on the show as well. Brian, there's a lot of work to be done in 2025 because we thought the election was over, and so we could rest a little bit. But now we have so much work to be done.
No, I figured it was going to, kick in. I was already anticipating a busy year.
Have you gone? So we're going to the Capitol today to watch the swearing in, but also get the lay of the land, meet some people that we might have to talk to, meet the Democrats that are out there, meet the Republicans that are out there. Let them know, hey, we here, if they hear Wisconsin Voices, maybe they take our calls. Right. Joe is our lobbyist. Joe will be up there pushing agendas for the people that we serve, which is BIPOC, disenfranchised, and underserved people. What you think?
Sounds like a move. Sounds like a plan. Knew it was gonna get popping out the gate anyway, so I was anticipating it.
We took some rest and breaks, over the after the election, and we kind of worked from home. We did a lot of stuff, but we did some self-care, but it's on and cracking now.
Yeah, I had to clear that out. I had to clear November out to get ready for January.
I don't know. There is I wish people, so what Wisconsin, and I'm just going to now go into a little bit about what Wisconsin Voices will be doing. We will be offering the Civic 101 classes, but they won't be the hour-long class that we have been doing, our hour and a half. We are trying to do 4-hour classes so we can answer all your questions. We're going to try to have them for 4 hours on Friday. They will start at we're trying to start them at the end of January, but we also go out if your church group wants to have a Civics 101, we will definitely do that. If you want to have our full Civics 101 teaching, we can set that up. Just email me.
Get out to everybody, the churches, the barbershops. Hey, everybody, if you need some civic engagement within your crew, your people right now, if y'all listen to us, go ahead, let us know so we can come in and do her thing.
And it's not, it's me, it's Brian, it's Latoya, it's Shanita. If you're in the Madison area, Shanita will be doing it. So we are really trying to educate. If you don't understand how the government works, this is a great way to educate it. You can email me, and I'll give you my email address after we answer take this caller, but get your piece of paper ready and we can get you set up with that. Caller, go ahead.
Yes, good morning. I got a question for you.
I'm sorry. Can you turn that off?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hear me?
Hello, Mr. Meach. How you doing?
Oh, blessed. And have a whole good, happy New Year to you.
Thank you. You too.
too.
Yeah, you guys both have a good New Year. But I got a question.
Yes, sir.
You're talking about the civics engagement and the classes and that. But and you gave a lot of insightful information. But the house rules have changed. The rules and believe it or not, if you read the old rules, the commonsensicals of the rules have been left out. I mean, if you read the old rules that me and you never get a chance to read, or it just blow up past our mind because we're not interested. But now that it was on the line with this House Speaker, I engaged it and I looked at it and I said, my God, this is how we've gotten where we've gotten because the rules had changed. So ahead.
We
I'm
did
sorry.
talk about that a little bit earlier, where we were talking about how these rules change for every session, and they vote on these rule changes. So we did talk about that, how these rules that were set in place for years, and they really didn't change too
This is
much.
how. Listen, this is how America has gotten where it has gotten, and we're wondering how was these people in these places able to become so strong all of a sudden, and where did they get the strength from? Well, after reading the rules, especially the pleading of the families, I said it's been right in our face all the time, and we didn't know it to even protest about it, even bring it up, even discuss it, because they do this stuff in those chambers, and we never get a chance to do it. But I would like to sit in on one of those sessions that you're gonna have just to see what's going on when it's the person taking off.
I will definitely, do that. We're gonna be, and these sessions are facts. This is not anything that I am putting opinion on. These are, how does government work? What does it do? What does this, it's it's very much nonpartisan, but we're just talking about how government works.
But when
What
you say very much nonpartisan, you are partisan to a degree
No,
because
we are nonpartisan. We
the
It depends on what
organization.
your definition of. I'm going to stop you. Your definition of nonpartisan in the 501c3 world, the definition of nonpartisan is that you do not support or endorse any candidate.
Okay, I got that part. I operated under one of those for years.
Okay,
Well,
I'm just letting
if you look at your alderman position, that should be a nonpartisan position.
What
But they have tendencies to swing and woo the people in the direction that they want the people to go. So I mean, we can dress it up. We can dress a pig up, put new clothes on, and take it to the fair. Say it's not a pig.
And well, it depends on what you think or what you know. I mean, it's up to the voters to decide if they like a person or not, whether they're a Democrat or a
Well,
Republican.
listen. Here's a good one for you. Souls to the foes. They're supposed to be a nonpartisan group, but they do so much, uh, uh, railing against another party
Okay,
that
hold on.
you kind of know which way they're
Let me
going.
explain this, because they are one of our partners. Pastors United is the 501c3. Souls to the Polls is an entity under that 501c3. And Power to the Polls is the 501c4. So Power to the Polls have the right because they're a
Well,
501c4.
we understand that the power to the poll, the C4, does have a right. They have a right to even endorse a candidate.
Yes.
So I understand
And
that.
the Power, our Souls to the Polls is just a committee under Pastors United, which is the 501c3. All right. Thank you, Mr. Meach. I know I'll be hearing from you again very soon. Love your insight. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back to close it out. And this is Be a Voice with Wisconsin Voices, 860 AM, 106.5 FM.
Visit wisconsinvoices.org and learn more on how to be a voice with Wisconsin Voices.
Wisconsin Voices' 3 pillars are protecting democracy. Your vote is your voice. Wisconsin Voices works to protect democracy in Wisconsin by fighting voter suppression, promoting voting rights,
Man, it'd be that talking at the beginning for a long time that we never hear.
But this is
There you go.
there you go. This is going to be a great year.
Yeah.
We're going to push helping people get their voices. We want people to understand that there is help out there. We're going to try to connect all our partners. I am 100% focused outreach and partner driven this year. This is going to be a great year.
Yeah, it's going to be fun helping and showing people the research and connecting people again. Like I always talk about, breaking down the silos, y'all. Another year 3 of me same.
So I'm going to give you some email addresses. I told you my email address is Tomika, TOMIKA at Wisconsin, spelled out, WISCONSIN, voices, VOICES.org.
Yep.
Brian's email address is Brian, BRY.
Don't forget the Y.
AN.
BRYAN, folks.
At WisconsinVoices.org.
Yep.
Latoya, LATOYA at WisconsinVoices.org. If you're in the Madison area and you want to connect with Wisconsin Voices, it's Shanita, SONITA.
SH.
Oh, SHOITA at WisconsinVoices.org. If you want to talk policy, Joe is JOE at WisconsinVoices.org. And if you have something general, you can do info at WisconsinVoices.org. We are bringing more partners in. If you are interested in being a partner, email us at info@WisconsinVoices.org. We are trying to make a huge impact on the Milwaukee, Wisconsin community as a whole. We're going to be expanding. We're hitting the ground running. We're going to try to bring some more partners into central Wisconsin and upper Wisconsin. So we're going to be on the ground working.
Green Bay, we're coming for you.
Eau Claire, La Crosse, Fox Valley area.
Fond du Lac.
We're coming. So we will be moving around and trying to make sure that the voice of Wisconsin people are heard. All right, this is Tomika with Wisconsin Voices.
Boy Brian, Wisconsin Voices.
We will be back tomorrow. See you at 11 o'clock tomorrow, Monday, Tuesday, 11 to 12.
Peace.
Peace.